mean, you're a prolific author. You write many memos, you've written books. And we in the past have talked about some of the books that you found useful in the past, one of which I've got here, which is John Kenneth Galbraith's book, Short History of Financial Euphoria, which is very insightful. But what books do you turn to in these types of crises, and what are you reading at the moment? Your bookshelf looks fairly well stacked behind you. Do you have anything that you can recommend at the moment?
Books are full of eternal wisdom. They're not to be read for the answer to what to do at this minute. The Galbraith book was extremely important for me because it told me about cycles and about euphoria, that's the title, and about the pendulum swing of human psychology. And I recommend it to everybody. And it has the added virtue of being a thin book, so you can get through it very easily. Short History of Financial Euphoria. I like to read books that are indicative of investor psychology. And so Nassim Nicholas Taleb's book, Fooled by Randomness, talks about how important randomness is in the financial markets and how randomness is confused with things happening for a reason. So that's important. And then Peter Bernstein, who was a great investment sage, wrote a book called Against the Gods. And he talked about the development of the science of probability and how development of the concepts of probability permitted us to get involved in transferring risk from those of us who want to avoid risk to those of us who are willing to take risk if well paid. And I think that that is an essential concept. So those are three of my real foundation books. And as you know, the book I've finished most recently is called Thinking in Bets. And it talks about, it's written by the world's leading female poker player. And it talks about how to systematize our thinking about making decisions under uncertainty, because that's what we do as investors, just like poker players or gamblers. We have to make decisions when there's hidden information and when random events will be very influential. And how we do that, I think, is very important.
If I had to bet that you were going to mention a book, I thought it would be Thinking in Bets.
Good.
Because you wrote about it recently, that memo, You Bet, I think is probably now my favorite of your
good.
It's a very useful memo and a great book too, actually, as well. I'd recommend it too.
But remember, you know what my favorite quote is from that memo or that book, Max? That the expert only makes better guesses than anybody else. When you're dealing with the future, all your prognostications are guesses, and the expert merely is a better guesser in the field of his expertise. I think that's a great thought for people to bear in mind.
Yeah. And also there's a difference between experience and expertise. It's expertise that allows you to guess better, even if you have experience.